the sort of things that make a good gangster movie depends on what sort of person you are. You know, if you're actually a little bit of a naughty man yourself, then you're a little bit picky. You know, you actually like it to be a little bit real. But in reality, if it was actually very real, it would be very boring, because the gangster world is only glamorous on the big screen or in paperback. In real life, 99.5% of the people that are involved in the gangster world is not glamorous. So, seeing as 99.5% of the people in the world are not involved in that, they are not connoisseurs in the facts. They love something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, you know, the Scarfaces, the Reservoir Dogs, the Pulp Fiction, you know, written and directed by someone that hasn't got a gangster bone in his body, yeah, and so you can make it as way out and as silver screen worthy as possible. So that would make a good, you know, it's obviously everyone's favourite is Scarface. You know, if you can actually genuinely believe that the youth are manipulated into a way of life by music or films, then Al Pacino and Scarface has got a lot to answer for. As you go through the different eras of since the world began, the bad boy of that era has always become the sort of local hero, the knights in shining armour, the cowboys, the pirates, you know, the bad boys of that era has always become the local, and in this era it's gangsters, yeah, that's the word for them, instead of cowboys, and we're gangsters, but that is we're at the tail end of that. We're at the tail end of that whole gangster image. Yeah? Anyone chasing that now needs to have a definite career change. You know, you're not trying to pit your wits against a Sherlock Holmes policeman no more. You're trying to beat technology, and you can't really do that. Yeah, you know, you can't. And I suppose Spartacus was the first gangster movie. You know, he's talking about the gangsters of that era. You know, Spartacus, and right up to Al Pacino. But you get the new ones, you get the Reservoir Dogs. They're actually romantic, and I'm very pleased to say that an awful lot of females find them sexy. It's almost like a sex film for the female. The adrenaline buzz of the naughty man, thank God, you know, is still very much alive and well. And you get a certain genre of ladies that get moist over a naughty film, over a gangster movie, you understand me? So what makes a good gangster movie, getting back to your original question, I should imagine for the general public as much gunplay, bald heads, tits and bums and guns as possible, you know, as many deaths, and you know, with all this computer animated stuff they can make movies with now, it's better than real life. You can get shot on screen better than you can get shot in real life. It looks better getting done on screen.
Do you think people with a criminal background watch these films and see them differently to the
they can't help it. You can't help but see it a little bit differently. You know, if you was a professional footballer, then you would have to look at when you went down to the park on a Sunday morning, you'd watch the two pubs play, and you would look at it different than every other person who was standing around there screaming. So if you're involved in that way of life, you can't help but be a little bit picky or say things like, oh, well, he wouldn't do that, or, you know. But people that are not in that way of life genuinely believe that that is how it is. You know, they genuinely believe that there is such thing as honour among thieves, and, you know, we don't grass anyone up, we never run away. Well, I'm afraid the whole world's different. They are all very heroic, romantic, wartime rules of life, you know. We just come out of a war, and the whole rest of the world looks at the English criminal fraternity as enviable, yeah, the bulldog impression, you know, you could pull their fingernails out, you wouldn't grass anybody up, you know, the loose lips sink ships, wolves have ears, one spy is more dangerous than 10,000 men. So when the whole country come out of a war with them beliefs, if you happen to be a copper, you had an hell of a job, because no one ever grassed anybody up for nothing. So they realised their problem with the whole nation growing up with them morals. So what they've done is they've spent the next 20 or 30 years, very cleverly, on primetime television, on every single station, they make a programme just for informants. And if you'd have told me that 20 years ago, I'd have called you a liar. Right? But there is actually a programme now that you can go, and if you see this person, just ring us up and we'll give you some money and we won't tell anybody who you are. And here's another two. If you see these, oh, we got one phone call already. Here's another two. If you told me there'd be a programme like that, I wouldn't believe you. But there is, and they now have made it a very entertaining programme. I actually watch it myself, but there's now a grass line for anyone that's had too much to drink. You can ring them up and the police will catch them on the way home. Anyone's at work. Obviously you get the for firearms and for drugs. You can't open a magazine or a newspaper now without a bit of paper coming out, go and ring us up, and tell us everything. And then it actually reached the limit when they're trying to entice children to inform on their mum and dad. The only telephone number some of these children now know when they go to school is, if your mum and dad go to smack you, you ring 115 2233, whatever it is, and you ring us and we will stop them ever smacking you again. So they are enticing children to actually inform on their mums and dads. Now, somewhere down the line, that's got to come back and kick you straight out the nuts. Our country was a bulldog nation, envied by the rest of the world, a romantic, underworld reputation, right? But they have just spent a few years now and truly dismantled it into a nation of informants. Everyone is informing on everyone, and they encourage it, and they put it on telly and they pay you for it, and now they're teaching the children to actually inform on their mum and dad. And whether you believe your kid would actually do that to you or not, please believe me, if a child thinks that between here and there and reading up his backside he could go, I'll ring them people, and it would make your mum go, right? Once it's worked once, that's what he will say all the rest of his life to stop himself getting smacked. So would anyone else. Right? And that is very Hitler Youthy. Yeah? Somewhere along the line it has to come back and bite us on the bum what he has done to this country. I truly believe that.
Do you think that's just happening in England, or is it sort of coming from
America?
America?
England is being, I think it's being used in England more so than anywhere else, because it's an island and it's very easy to put a dome over it, self-contain it. We've only got a handful of television stations, a handful of newspapers, and we are a training pot. Yeah, and a visual exhibition to the rest of the world is this is how you can do it. If you just camera up every street and Christ knows what else, license the doorman and computerise the police, it's
like a police state.
It's very much like a police state. It is a police state, make no mistake. England is leading the way in high-tech policing, It's not what they do that's a crime, it's what they do to disguise or hide what they do is the crime. It is England have always been known as the masters of surprise, what's the word?
Innovation?
The masters of deception, yeah? And to enable themselves to do something, because the authorities and law enforcement people think long term, and the criminal just thinks of tonight and tomorrow, they will always beat you. So what they will do is things like, for instance, if they said, we would like to put a tracking device on everyone's car in the whole country so the police can check up where you are every time you go out, we would go, no, invasion of privacy and all that. So what they do is they change the name of it and call it an anti-theft device. And now if anyone does nick your car, the police, no one else, can turn it on and find out where your car is. And then later on they're going to say it's such an improvement for the insurance companies. They're getting so much money back, they're now going to make it on the MOT. So there you have a bug in your car that you're actually paying extra for, but they've just changed the name for it. You know, and the trick of life is being able to flip it, turn a bad thing into a good thing. And of course terrorism is not a good thing. But seeing as it's here, can't they get away with murder now? Now they can actually say, can we do this, can we do that, for the sake of terrorism? You know, and the police actually learned from Roger Cook. You know, don't arrest somebody and then go and look for the evidence. Just apply for the warrant and bug them for 3 years. There's no rush. You get all the money back. They're not, whatever they're getting away with for 3 years, they get it all back. And I don't care whether you're Mother Teresa. If they listen to your phone, your house and your car for 3 years, they will find something to put you in prison. So you have to go guilty when you go to court. It's none of that, you know, like the poor old English criminal has got it stuck right up him now. You know, it's very romantic, the records and the films, this gangster thing. But it's a historical word, gangster. Like cowboys, knights in shining armour, pirates. It's an historical word. You cannot chase that thing because it does no longer exist. You know, the James Cagney stick 'em up mob bank robbery era is all well and truly gone. You know, there's more money being stole per second on a computer now by the city boys than any armed robber ever done. You know, ever.